throttle up.
Discovery, roger. Go for deploy.
Thanks, and everybody in the shuttle program, the crew is go for launch.
Roger. Nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
NASA quarter is looking a little rough right now, Rob. We got some work to do. We need some help. I know. The dragon you're flying is.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. What a gorgeous day here it is today at Kennedy Space Center's multi-user spaceport. And I want to thank all of you for coming out here today to help us welcome the Crew-3 here to the Kennedy Space Center. You know, the teams have put in a lot of long hours and a lot of hard work to get to this point, both NASA and SpaceX, and we're super excited to have you guys here and really looking forward to the upcoming launch this weekend. I'm going to turn it over now. Let me introduce somebody who really needs no introduction. He's a former center director here at the Kennedy Space Center, member of the Astronaut Hall of Fame, veteran of 4 space shuttle flights, and he actually was a member of the crew that put the first assembly mission together for the International Space Station. So with that, my hero, Bob Cabana.
Thanks, Janet. Hey, it's great to be home in Florida, but it's really great to have Crew-3 here. Welcome, guys. This is awesome. You know, the FRR went really well. Got a few issues to work, some standard open work to get done, but everything's tracking toward launch very, very early on Sunday morning. The work that we do together with SpaceX is absolutely amazing. The team has just been extremely responsive to everything, and we got a good vehicle for you guys. It was great sitting through that FRR yesterday. You know, it's really important that we establish a commercial economy in low Earth orbit so we can focus on moving on, that next step, getting to the moon and beyond, going eventually on to Mars. And I'm telling you, I got to see the SLS stacked up with Orion on top and the VAB, and I can't wait for that launch to come too. But before we do that, we got to continue to work on everything that we need to know up on the space station, and we got the right crew to do it. So welcome, guys. It's a real pleasure having you here, and it's great to be home. With that, I want to turn it over to Frank DeVinny, the head of ISS for ESA. Frank?
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Crew-3 here to Kennedy Space Center. First of all, I would like to thank our NASA partners and also SpaceX for getting the rocket ready. As Bob said, we had a very good FRR yesterday, some open work, but I'm confident that the teams will get there, and we're looking forward to get Crew-3 with, of course, from European Space Agency, Matthias on orbit. We currently have Thomas Pesquet on orbit, the first European that flew on a Dragon SpaceX Crew vehicle. And after Matthias, we will also have Samantha flying to orbit. So it's kind of a first for the European Space Agency to have 3 astronauts in a row and be permanently on the space station. And as we also mentioned yesterday at the FRR, this is kind of the golden age with the capabilities that USCV is giving us to have 4 USOS astronauts on orbit, plenty of crew time, plenty of science that we can do. And we also had the MLM that was launched just a couple of months ago, 3-4 months ago, I would say, with the European robotic arm. So that's also a highlight that Matthias will work on the European robotic arm, a new piece of technology that is flying from the ESA side out to the International Space Station. So again, very happy to be here, and congratulations, guys, and looking forward to a successful launch on Sunday.
Thank you very much, Frank. And now, without further ado, let me turn it over to the crew. Let me start with the commander, Rasha Chari.
Thanks, Janet, Bob, and Frank. We are super excited to be here at Kennedy. The last time we were here was our final dress and training trip, and now to actually come here with the vehicle is pretty special. Having an Air Force background, this is typically the time in the Air Force we call stepping to the jet. So you're done with the briefing, you're done with the training, and now you actually are stepping out to the aircraft, in this case the spacecraft, and actually putting feet and boots on the ground at the place where the vehicle's at. So we couldn't be happier to be here. I got to see the pad flying in, which is amazing. And thanks, as they all alluded to, the last few days have been full of reviews, and so we've had the benefit of getting to focus on training while our leadership teams have been making tough decisions and getting the vehicle ready and going through all the various closing of work and risks and everything to make it safe for us to fly. So we very much appreciate that, and we're ready to go and couldn't be happier about being here. I'll turn it over to Tom Marshburn. This will be his third vehicle to fly in, which is pretty cool. So he's flown Shuttle, Soyuz, and now gets the pleasure to be our mentor here on the Crew Dragon and ready to go with us on Endurance. So over to Tom.
Thank you, Raja. We're absolutely thrilled to be here, as you can imagine, and quite humbled by seeing over the last year and a half to 2 years the millions of human hours that go into getting us ready, getting the vehicle ready, all for this one moment coming up for a launch. We couldn't be more excited and more ready to go. And we are ready to be your next shift of deckhands on the mighty spaceship of the International Space Station. So thanks, it's great to be here. And now, Caleb Barron.
Hi, everybody. We're really excited to hit the deck here at KSC. I think for all of us, especially the rookies on the flight, it still feels a little surreal, like we don't really believe that we're actually going to space here, hopefully on the early hours of Sunday morning. So I think coming to Kennedy Space Center, spaceflight, you never feel closer to it than you do when you're here at KSC, where we're doing so many amazing things and entering this new era of commercial partnerships, sending more human beings into space. And it's actually a really cool time for reflection, too, both on our personal journeys, all of the amazing people who have helped us get to this point, but also the history of the incredible things we're doing on here at NASA. Like Tom said, we're really excited to join the crew for Expedition 66 aboard the space station. And I was trading emails with Ken Reitler, a former astronaut who's a mentor of mine, earlier this week, and he told me that he was there in Russia for the launch of the Expedition 1 crew on Halloween. And so we have a Halloween launch too here if we launch on time. So we're really excited to join that incredible legacy and our friends up there on the space station. And I'd like to introduce Matthias Maurer.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting having the very first space flight ahead, flying to space, being part of such an incredible team. My crewmates are outstanding, and I'm really looking forward to having a great time in space, meeting my colleague Thomas Pesquet and the Crew-3 up there in space, the Russian colleagues, also our Japanese colleague. We'll do plenty of science up there. It's the focus of our work, what we're doing. And we will also report what we're doing in space, because we want to bring everyone along being part of that mission. A word of thanks to all the teams that prepared us. Looking back 1.5 years when the 3 of us, or the 4 of us, started training. It was the beginning, or actually the very first phase of the pandemic and Corona. It struck the entire world, but actually the people that organized the training and organized our spaceship and organized also like everything that is that makes it happen that we can fly to space now. They all make it seem so easy for us. So the entire world was affected, but we were able to train, prepare ourselves, and now we're actually looking forward to implement what we're trained for. So a huge words of thanks to everyone who made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Crew-3. All right, now we're going to move on to the media Q&A portion of the event. So if you have a question, please line up behind the mic. We will stick to one question each. We have about 15 minutes for questions. Please state your name and affiliation. All right, let's get started.
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press, over here, this way, over here. Here we are. Your crew is going to break the 600 people in space threshold, and NASA has designated you, Matthias, as number 600. So how do you feel about that? And do you see that as a big or a small number, given that this is 600 people in 60 years and where it's headed with all these visitors you're going to be getting?
Yeah, I believe being number 600 in 60 years, it makes like 10 persons per year. But I think in a very few years we will see an exponential rise of that one, because now we're entering the era of commercial spaceflight, and all the suborbital flights, they also count into these statistics. So I think we will see also in the numbers that we're now at the dawn of a new era for spaceflight. And I actually offered the place to Kayla, because I think she and I will be together like number 600. So, okay, I was the lucky one that got the round number. But, okay, we will all have fun in space.
Hi, Ken Kramer, Space Up Close. My question is for Matthias, and I will ask in English and briefly Deutsch auch. So, you are the first astronaut actually to train on Russian and American spacesuits. I wonder if you could talk about that and compare it, and will you have a spacewalk? Du bist der erste Astronaut, die russische und amerikanische Raumzeuge zertifiziert ist. Kannst du die vergleichen und machst du auch eine EVA? Dankeschön.
Yes, so I'm actually trained, that's correct, on the EMU and on the Orlan spacesuit. My colleague Samantha Cristoforetti is also currently training on that one. And some 10 years ago, that used to be standard. So this morning we talked with Mike Barrett. He's the last US astronaut who went out in an Orlan spacesuit. So 10 years ago, the cross-certification of astronauts was normal. Nowadays, we limit ourselves on the individual spacesuits. But now having the European robotic arm on the Russian side, it also allows us to go outside with the Russian suit and to activate it. And I think that's a huge honor. And I think both systems have advantages and restrictions, let me call it this way. So I think it's beneficial for astronauts to be exposed to both systems. And in the future, to walk on the moon, we definitely need a new generation of suits, because these suits are made for microgravity. They are not made for walking on the surface or climbing down the steep slopes, going down to the craters where we need to find the ice water on the moon. So there's a huge step forward. These suits are incredibly powerful to allow us to do the work in zero gravity. And in 2 or 3 weeks, 2 of my colleagues will actually perform a spacewalk and prove that you can work in space outside in such a suit. But exploration requires an advance in technology, and I think we need to improve all suits that we have. Do you also want to have a short answer in German? Okay, so es ist korrekt, dass ich in beiden Anzügen ausgebildet wurde. Beide Anzüge sind super toll, in beiden kann man draußen arbeiten. Beide Anzüge haben Vor- und Nachteile. Und ich bin total begeistert, dass ich vielleicht die Möglichkeit habe, in einem russischen Anzug auszusteigen. Ich hoffe auch noch ein bisschen darauf, dass ich auch den amerikanischen Anzug testen darf, weil beides ist wirklich sehr bereichernd. Danke.
Dankeschön.
Chris Gebhardt with NASA Spaceflight. For each of you, wondering real quick, can you tell us what science investigation you're most excited about participating in and why while you're up there? Thank you.
I think for me, kind of to build off Matthias's answer about spacesuits, I'm really excited about all the things we're doing to inform future exploration missions to the moon and hopefully eventually to Mars. So we're doing a lot of work on our life support equipment, trying to understand how to make it more reliable, make the maintenance easier. We're starting to think about things like when we can't fly new parts up, when things break or new equipment, could we 3D print new things to replace parts when things break? And we're just testing a lot of new sensor technology to help facilitate future life support systems on the moon. So we're doing a ton of stuff like that, including medical research on our own bodies to understand the effect of living in space in a radiation environment, in microgravity or reduced gravity, to figure out what countermeasures we need to stay healthy on those long-duration missions even further from home. So I think that's the stuff that excites me most, because I'm really excited about the next phase of things we're doing in the Artemis program, and the space station is an excellent platform to help us get ready for those missions.
I think for me, what gets me most excited about some of the science is things that have to do with what I call closed-loop environmental systems. So the ability to recycle some of our byproducts. So some of the research going on that we'll be helping with is CO2 scrubbing, some better ways to scrub CO2, some better ways to sense hydrogen, and those have direct implications for here on the planet. So they help us in the space station and exploration as we need to generate oxygen. But here on Earth, if we could scrub CO2 better, that's a huge, obviously climate-changing solution solution. So if some fundamental science that we're doing that would have worldwide implications, whether it's hydrogen, plenty of applications where the ability to sense hydrogen would protect workers or industries from leaks and being able to sense that and recycle that, and then also increasing our efficiency of reusing our water. So everyone probably already knows we recycle the water that comes out of us, gets put back into us later, and we're about an 80% recovery factor, and we're trying to bump that into the upper 90s. And again, if we could do that and scale it for the Earth, I mean, again, just game-changing science that would really fundamentally change how humans live here on the planet.
I'd have to say, as a physician, a lot of the life sciences work, or particularly the work that we do on ourselves, because we're guinea pigs up there, excites me not only because of what we find out about the human body and still what is new, a very new frontier of living in microgravity and in a high radiation environment, but also, as you know, I mean, being exposed to microgravity that long, it's like an accelerated aging process, if you will, with bone and muscle wasting that we have to counteract with the exercise. We've been doing this for a couple of decades now, but we're still adding to the knowledge. We're involved in a nutrition study. Brings us more variety for food, which we really love, but really because we can accelerate this the detrimental process. So in 6 months, we get what a human would get in, say, a decade. We're able to find out so much more about how to counteract these processes that happen to humans that are either sick and in bed in ICUs or as we all get older. So as with a lot of the life sciences work, I really like bringing technology that we use to study ourselves forward into the future or forward to now, accelerate it so it becomes more common and actually brings better medical care on the ground as well.
As a material scientist, I'm especially looking forward to all the experiments that involve new materials. We have several furnaces up in space where we can smelt metals and analyze them, like treat them differently, gain a lot of parameters that we later on feed then in a computer system so we can simulate directly on the ground how to produce new products. After all, like innovation and technology and new patents are based like 70% on new materials. So it's like really important to advance in this respect. Also on the space station, we are bridging the gap between medical experiments and material science. So we're creating protein crystals that you only can grow in space, and that can immediately be used to develop new medications on the ground, because you can only gain these parameters up there in space. Also, like chips, like lab-on-a-chip experiments, creating small organoids. It is all very related between materials and like medical parts of it. And so I think what we are doing up there, the four of us have around 350 experiments on board, and so like some 35 are from Europe. I think we will see some outstanding outcome. Thank you.
Hi, Amy Thompson from Space.com. So my question is for Kayla or Raja. I was just wondering, as newbie space players, what does the week look like leading up to your launch? And obviously I know that's a big event, but is there anything in particular that you're excited about, like maybe seeing your rocket or that kind of thing? Thank you.
I'll throw Matthias into the newbie flyer category as well. I think, and I'll actually steal Kayla's word, I think for me the thing that is most unique about this week is we pretend to be astronauts so often. We're always training, and now when we see the vehicle, it's actually the real vehicle. It's not so we have a mock-up at SpaceX, we have one in Houston, we train a lot, we train on the ISS, and the next time we see the ISS will be the actual ISS. So I think processing that is a pretty cool thing about this week. And I think in terms of the actual events this week, it's you kind of hit on it, but it's actually getting in our suits, getting in the actual vehicle on the pad, actually seeing everything the way it's actually going to be, and seeing it all and being ready for actual launch day. So I think that's what I'm most looking forward to.
The only thing I'd add is, for me, this will actually be the first rocket launch I've seen in person, and I'll be in the capsule on the top of it. So I'm really excited for the whole experience, and I think as launch has gotten closer, we've gotten to see our flight capsule and climb around in it once, but we'll get to see it again this week, integrated with the rocket. So those are the things that I think are helping us kind of deal with the reality that we're actually going to launch here on Sunday.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Eric Von Eyck, WKMG TV, CBS Orlando. I hate for this conversation to devolve into potty talk, but specific to the issues that were raised at last night's flight readiness review briefing. I got to tell you, the internet is abuzz with this. I don't know why that's funny to them. Specifically, corrosion obviously is a concern in space flight. Are you concerned about it? Do you even think about it? And how do you feel about SpaceX's welding fix?
So I would say we're very confident in NASA and SpaceX's conclusions, and they've done an amazing job testing. We talked about it actually when we kicked off the flight readiness review yesterday, that one of the really cool things about this private and public partnership between government agencies and these commercial industries is we're benefiting from things they see in other space flights. So whether it's cargo Dragon flights, the Inspiration 4 flights, more data is always goodness, and the safer we can make space flight, the better. In terms of fixes and risk mitigation, there is hundreds, if not probably thousands of people who've been working. They worked all past weekend to make sure we're in a safe place, not just for our launch, but actually for Crew-2's return as well. And so I think for us, for our vehicle, for Endurance, we have complete confidence. We've got some mitigations in place. We understand the system. I think we had some learning, and SpaceX, as they have in the past, has been amazingly quick and reactive. When they find something, they immediately come up with a fix and move out on implementation. So they've been a great partner to NASA throughout the Commercial Crew program, and they continue to be. And I think we have full confidence in Endurance and know that Endeavour is going to bring Crew-2 home safely as well.
Susanne Freitag, ZDF, German Television. Eine Frage an Matthias. Wir haben gehört, dass Blue Origin eine eigene Raumstation aufbauen will. Ist das Konkurrenz? Ist das gut? Wie stehen Sie dazu?
Also ich finde es immer gut, dass mehr Akteure aktiv werden, mehr Leute sich für das Thema Weltraum interessieren, weil nur wenn mehr Akteure oben aktiv sind, dann können wir natürlich auch die Systeme verbessern und dann auch die Systeme robuster machen und den Zugang für viele Menschen ermöglichen. Auf die lange Frist gesehen denke ich, dass Raumfahrt in der Zukunft das sein wird, was heute die Luftfahrt für uns ist. Und wenn wir 100 Jahre zurückschauen, dann gab es wenige Exoten, die in klapprige Kisten gestiegen sind und dann durch die Lüfte geflogen sind. Heute ist es ganz normal. Ich denke, das ist auch die Zukunft der Raumfahrt.
Vielen Dank.
Michael Krohns, German Television, deutsches Fernsehen, Phoenix ZDF. A question to Matthias. Wenn Sie jetzt wenige Tage vor dem Start sind, da haben Sie To-Do-Listen im Kopf, da denken Sie vielleicht an die Freude auf das saarländische Essen, aber worauf freuen Sie sich am meisten da oben?
Ja. Hallo Michael. Also für mich ist das jetzt eine ganz neue Art zu reisen. Ich habe eben schon lachend zu meinen Kollegen gemeint, das ist das erste Mal, dass ich aufbreche zu einer Reise und ich muss mich um gar nichts kümmern, weil alles wird für mich organisiert. Das heißt, ich kann mich voll auf den Start konzentrieren, auf das, was wirklich wichtig ist. Die paar Tage, die jetzt noch vor uns liegen, dann schauen wir uns unsere Kapsel nochmal an. Wir gehen nochmal im Detail durch, was wir alles machen dann während des Starts. Und ich genieße es einfach nur. Es ist einfach eine tolle Woche. Ich hoffe, ich kann jeden Moment wirklich tief in meine Erinnerung mit aufsaugen und auch lange von diesen Erinnerungen dann zehren.
Wir drücken die Daumen.
Super,
Danke.
vielen Dank.
Oh, hi, Marcia Dunn, AP again. I have to ask you, what are the trick-or-treating plans for Sunday, assuming you launch on Sunday? And you got some masks up your sleeves, or what do you plan for Halloween?
Mark Vandehei provided us with some costumes we might pull out maybe here in the next few days. When we arrive at the space station, we'll be knocking on the door and we'll see if they're going to let us in or not. So on station itself, I don't know that we have anything in particular planned, but we'll see. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all for your questions. That's all the time we have for today. Please tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll have a media Q&A with the crew, so you can catch that live on nasa.gov/live. And looking forward to their launch, which is scheduled for 2:21 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, October 31st. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Janet Petro to close out the show. Crew, stay put for a photo op.
Hey, again, I just want to thank you all for coming out here today and helping us to greet this crew. them landing here today means we're getting really, really close to launch, and they're going to take their steps on their journey to space from Kennedy's multi-user spaceport, and they're going to begin their expedition in the ISS. So wish them all the best, Godspeed, and go Crew 3. Thank you all for coming.